Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Not gonna lie, the last couple episodes have been very mixed for me. Because while they weren't bad episodes, they weren't great episodes either. Like, they had good moments. And some of these. They had good moments in some of these episodes. Like, even today's episode had, a couple good moments or whatever. But it wasn't really a great episode. Okay. So, Dante and Sam. Now, the reason why it just annoyed me so much and why I paid very little attention to those scenes with those two, the reason why it bothered me, it's not because Sam is sleeping with somebody else other than Jason. I don't give a damn who she sleeps with. I really don't. Jason slept with somebody else, so whatever. It's not the fact that she's sleeping with somebody else. I mean, yeah, the fact that they, share a sibling is a little weird, to be honest. But it's not really that. It's the fact that she got the news, about an hour or something. And her response is to have sex with another man. In the bed that they sit there and share together. I just, watching those two kiss and just, I just looked at it, I was like, you disrespectful. Because it's literally been not even a week or a couple months. Haven't even been a whole day yet. And you're sitting there just hearing the passing of somebody you were married to. The father of your child just passed away. And your response is, let me have sex with somebody else and let's do it in the bed that you sit there and share with my husband. That is what bothered me. That is what pissed me off. That is one of those things where it's just I watched and I was like, I can't. Every time they kept playing those scenes, because I couldn't really fast forward it, so I just kept going on my tablet and watching other things, because I just, no. Just no. I felt like it was just disrespectful. I felt like it was just tactless and a whole bunch of other adjectives that I'm not even really going to get into. But yeah, I really didn't like those whole scenes at all. And then towards the end, it looks like Sam is, she gets up and she's staring at the window and she looks like she's kind of sad, and Dante kind of holds her and consoles her or whatever, and I'm just like, I got nothing. I really don't. I was like, I'm like, what, are you feeling sad now? What? You know what? I'm gonna just let that go. I'm just gonna let that go. Now, when I was sitting there reading the comments and stuff like that, and not just my comments, just comments on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, and you have some people that they didn't understand why people were upset with Carly, the way she lashed out at Britt. And the thing is, it's not so much that, listen, Carly's going to be who Carly's going to be, and we all know that, and we accept it for better or worse. But it still doesn't make it right, she's upset. She lost the best person, one of the best people in her life. Second best, besides her kids. So we all get that. We all understand that grief works in just very terrible ways. But it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right that she lashes out and takes it out on somebody else. If I'm having a bad day, it doesn't make it right that I decide I want to lash out at the cashier that I'm checking out at. It doesn't make it right. Yeah, I'm mad, I'm angry about whatever. And I may even be justified in my anger. But it doesn't give me carte blanche to sit there and take it out on whoever I want just because I'm in that mood. It really doesn't. And so watching it today, watching Britt be on that bridge, I didn't really understand why she was there. I mean, yeah, she said that Jason told her about the bridge at one point, but it was just like, all right. I mean, he was at a lot of places. He was at Sonny's place. You didn't stop over there. Like I didn't really understand that, except for the fact that they just want to force a scene between Carly and Britt. And Britt was there for a little bit, saw Carly sitting there, and I'm sitting there thinking, all right, well, she doesn't like you because she literally just lashed out at you not that long ago. So why are you asking dumbass questions like, do you want me to leave? Do you want me to leave? This one was not even looking at you, and you're at... Okay. So, she's like, listen, it's a public bridge, anyone can be here, whatever, like, it's... I'm not going to sit there and tell you to leave. I'm like, Britt, just because she's not telling you to leave, doesn't mean that you probably shouldn't leave. You should leave. But she does eventually, Carly does, apologize to her for lashing out at her. Because one, it was wrong. And two, that's not what Jason would want it. Jason wouldn't want her to just sit there and lash out at her. And Carly recognized that, she was important to Jason. Important enough to sit there and go halfway around the world to sit there and, help find her mother. So, she acknowledged that, and, towards the end of the episode, you got Carly and Britt just kind of stand there, kind of like, shoulder to shoulder, and look like she puts her arms around her a little bit. So, just kind of console each other, just kind of just mourning, is the best way I could sit there and describe, which was a nice scene. It was. Speaking of mourning, so Sonny calls over Spinelli. He's like, I need you to sit there and track down Sarah's phone. Dude's calling me from prison. I don't know how, I don't know why, but you need to sit there and do your thing and kind of figure it out. And Spinelli starts talking about Jason. That's when Sonny realized, oh, he doesn't know about Jason. So he lets him know about Jason. And, at first Spinelli sort of had the same reaction that Carly did. He was like, yo, listen, we need to go down there. He was talking about he has some new gadgets or whatever. He can sit there and check for body heat, this, that, and third. But, Sonny's like, there's a good chance that he's not with us anymore. And it's just something that we're going to have to sit and accept. Spinelli starts breaking down, he starts crying, and, Sonny just kind of holds him. Which actually was a really nice scene. It was a really nice scene for a couple of reasons. Because, let's be honest, Sonny never really actually had a lot of patience for Spinelli at all. I think he mostly tolerated him because he was close to Jason. So he never really had a lot of tolerance for him. But, seeing them just kind of embrace each other in a hug was actually pretty nice. It was moments like that was like, this wasn't a totally terrible episode. Like I said, it wasn't a bad episode in general, but it was moments like that definitely did elevate the episode. Hell, he even offered to, like, yo, why don't you stay tonight? But, Spinelli left because he wanted to kind of just be alone in his thoughts and everything like that, to process this this way, he could be in somewhat of a manageable mood for his daughter. Valentine got Chase in trouble. 6 months of suspension. I'm like, damn. 6 months without pay, pretty much. Practically, or just 6 months in general, but he walks back in the room with Brooklyn, and granted they were having to talk about Bailey and the lies and stuff like that, how they're great, listen, even though it's gonna suck for a lot of people, it's worth it, especially given anything that's going on right now. Everything that's going on right now. And that's when Matt comes in. Mac's like, yeah, we gotta talk. And at first, Brooklyn was like, oh, did Valentine call about the fraud? Meg was like, what fraud? And Brooklyn was like, I don't know. I had a lot of wine. I had no idea what I'm talking about. But Mac was like, yeah, we gotta talk. So he comes back. He has this look in his face. Chase has this devastated look in his face. And Brooklyn's like, it's bad, isn't it? He was like, yep, I got 6 months suspension. I'm like, bro, what did you think was gonna wind up happening? Seriously, honestly, tell you the truth, you're just lucky that he didn't actually, I don't know, press charges. Hell, I'm pretty sure he can still probably do that. But the point is, yeah, I mean, revenge was coming for Brooklyn, and anyone that kind of got in his way. Actually, tell you the truth, I think this is kind of a nice little bit of revenge for Brooklyn. Because he doesn't go after Brooklyn directly. He goes after Brooklyn through her allies. Which, I have to sit there and say, well played. So, Shawn is there at Thanksgiving with Spencer and Esmere. Somebody actually commented that I kept sitting there saying Esmere's name wrong. I kept calling her Esme. To be honest, I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like everyone at this show kind of calls her something different. And I'm pretty sure I was calling her Esme for a while. And hell, even Alexis called her Esme today. And I'm just like, somebody told me how to pronounce it like Esmere. So why do these people keep sitting there saying Esme for? Anyway, Esmere leaves with Spencer, and Alexis is like, pretty much like, yo, I don't I don't trust Esmere. I really don't. I don't trust her at all. But then people start coming to the door, one by one. You got Valentine that comes there, and he doesn't want to be alone. He wants to sit there and be with her. Then Nicholas and Ava show up. Of course, Ava sits there and talks about the 1-year anniversary of Julian. And, Alexis is like, yeah, I didn't really think about that since they are not exactly fond memories. But then she gets another ring at the door. After Nicholas and Ava being there, seeing the bad blood between Spencer, they're already sniffed it clashing. And then Victor comes to the door. And Victor comes in and he practically tells everyone that Valentine is his son. Well, I mean, like he's Valentine's father. So at this point, Valentine's like, yep. So, I'm a Cassadine. Spencer, remember you were talking that smack about how I was an imposter, this, that, and third? Yeah. So everyone's there and everyone's arguing and stuff like that back and forth. Alexa's like, yo, listen, everyone's not going anywhere. No one's going anywhere until they finish the play. No one. But they're arguing back and forth. And then finally Victor's like, yo, he does the whole whistle thing. He's like, all right, enough of this bad blood infighting crap. Like, no, we're not doing that. We've been divided for far too long, and there's a bunch of enemies that are lurking in the shadows. And I'm like, all right, now you kind of sound like a comic book villain, but okay, sure. Pretty much he just wanted everyone to just stop fighting, and he said that, and Shawn just kind of stood there and just gave a look, and I'm just like, what was Shawn's purpose in this episode today? I mean, I didn't really feel like he said too much of anything. He just agreed. Well, he just was asking questions about Alexis, how Alexis felt about Esmere. Other than that, I just kind of stood there, was like, Shawn, what did you actually serve today? Like, what purpose did you serve? And this is something that's been kind of bothering me a little bit. Is that when Shawn got back, I was all happy. I was like, all right, my guy's back. Shawn's back. It's going to be great. He's going to be in some very interesting stories. And the first thing that he winds up doing is trying to find, justice for Hayden. Just the whole, going to the investigation, whatever, as first with Sam. Kind of bouncing off ideas with Alexis. And then it all didn't really go anywhere because, well, Hayden didn't really need justice, and Nicholas really covered his tracks well enough so that way, it's pretty much Shawn's word versus Nicholas' word. So it was really pretty much kind of like no one actually had the advantage. And since, again, Hayden was totally fine with the fact that, like, she was working with Nicholas, there was no point in getting justice for Hayden. So at that point, it was just like, all right, well, what are we gonna do with Shawn now? And the thing is, it's like, Jordan isn't there, so it's not like it could be a love triangle between, Curtis and Jordan and Shawn because Jordan isn't there anymore. I mean, I guess he can always go back out with Alexis. It's not like he's working for Sunny again. So I guess that will probably be a thing at some point. But other than that, it's like... And here's the thing. I'm not saying that these characters gotta do, something major all the time. But, like... So, I was at my deli today. And I ran across this person that always watches GH and stuff like that. Now, she didn't know that... Well, she didn't know that Jason was to come back. The actor got fired and... Engo and stuff like that got fired. She didn't know about that out there. But what she did sit there and say about, like, Jax's character was that, like, alright, yeah, Jax wasn't really that important. I didn't really care that much. And it's like, it's kind of unfortunate. This is after, of course, I plugged my channel. It's like, hey, just let you know, I do, GH reviews, in case you want to sit there and watch it. Because at this point, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Which is fine, because, sometimes even when I'm at work or whatever, and somebody will have, like, a soap opera digest or whatever. Like, oh, what soap opera do you watch? And I start throwing out names and stuff like that. And you always kind of look at me like they're shocked. Like, yes, men actually do watch this show too. I know it's not a lot. I know it's not really popular or anything like that. But the point is, I was sitting there saying, because she was like, Jack's character didn't really do much. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a shame. Because back in the day, he used to always be in some great stories. He used to actually have a point and a purpose. And it's like, his last go around, he didn't really do too much of anything. He was kind of just there. Like, I mean, it's cool to be a supporting character, but you're Jax for Jax. Like, come on. Like, you can't give this guy anything to do? And I'm not going to lie. Because I was a fan like her. I didn't really know too much of anything as far as, like, going online and trying to find out stuff. Engo has been saying a lot of things. Nancy has been saying a lot. A lot of people have been saying a lot of things. My point is, Engo has been saying a lot of things. And he's also been there for a long time. Except for this time, and granted it's because of the whole, vaccine mandate. But a lot of people feel, and they don't really understand, a lot of people feel it's because of the stuff that he said. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, he's been saying stuff for a very long time. Why should this be any different? Anyway, like I said, it's his opinion. I don't necessarily agree with stuff that he says, but I think that was something. The reason why I actually brought him up is because he hasn't really been doing anything that important. So he's just been kind of a background character. And looking at Shawn's character today, it was like, all right, you were there, but like, what did you really do? Like, you were just there, And even when Victor was like, oh, where's your daughters, whatever, I want to have a proper greeting. And Alexa's like, oh, my daughters are away doing other stuff, thank goodness. I'm like, yeah, thank goodness, because, I mean, you don't really, it's like Jace doesn't really have a lot for them to do, I mean, yeah, what was her name? Christina's sitting there running the bar. And Molly, last time that she did anything interesting, was take down that judge. And before that, it was with the whole thing with Brando. But besides that, it's like, you gotta kind of give these characters something to do, otherwise they're just kind of there to be there, Oh, and the last scene, I think, because there's so many damn characters in this episode, and that is Quartermaine's. pretty much Drew's just catching up with Monica. Ned is not there talking to Olivia. It seemed like they're on the road to, being back together. Um, because Ned was like, where are we, like, where do we stand? And Olivia was like, we're in a lot better place. I'm feeling a lot hopeful and stuff like that. And I hope that answer could suffice. And I'm practically sitting there thinking, like, I guess that's the best answer that you're going to get, so I guess it's okay. But at the same time, I mean, granted, they got a lot to work through. Now I'm sitting there thinking about it, they got a lot to work through. So, Snitch is saying, are they fully back together yet? It's like, no, but they're on the road to. Now, when she was sitting there talking about Leo, and, she was like, she was grateful that Ned is always there for her, and there for him. And it's kind of a shame that we didn't get to finish the whole adoption process. And I'm sitting there just thinking in my head, I don't know how I feel about that anymore. I really, really don't. When they had problems, and Ned didn't agree with what Olivia was there saying about her son. Even though Ned, the doctors, a lot of other people was like, there's a good chance that he may be on the spectrum. She was just ready to divorce him and just leave. Like, and I kind of felt like, I don't know if she would have actually let Ned be a part of Leo's life if they were divorced. So I'm sitting there thinking just in my head, I was like, before you actually really get attached, and it's probably a little bit too late, but before you really start to adopt, Leo, you might want to just think about this fully carefully, Because one, you got to be attached to that woman. And that's just... And two, I just don't know with Olivia at this point, I mean, you can sit there and be close to Leo and always be there for him. But adoption or not, you're always going to sit there and treat Leo like he is one of your own regardless. I just don't know about adopting him because Olivia, like, with her whole 1 minute, you don't agree with me and I want a divorce and I want to move out the house. And it's like, we were just in the middle of adoption and now you just, because I didn't agree with you on one thing, so I don't really trust her, is what it comes down to. And now I'm sitting there thinking about it. And granted, here's the thing. I wasn't there for the whole Julian thing with Olivia and, because she, like, when I sit there and say she pushed Julian out of Leo's life, like, it was always something I just felt, it just rubbed me the wrong way, How she was always like, oh, well, Ned is the father, and Ned is a father in every way that it counts, and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, now granted, Dante is a grown man. But, she already more or less kind of made a foul. In some ways. In some ways, she did a good job as far as, I'm going to be honest, and I don't like saying this, but in some ways, she kind of did a good job as far as keeping Sonny out of Dante's life because of Michael. What happened to Michael? Because of Morgan, even though that wasn't sort of related. So I can understand why she did that. But with Leo, it was like, she made it every time. It was almost like Julian was a stranger to Leo, And there was something about that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, Julian was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But it just always rubbed me the wrong way about how she always kept this distance, this barrier. And she always would make it seem like, what the hell is his name? Ned. I was about to call him Ted. Ned is the father. It was like, yeah, he can love him like a father, but, Julian also loves him, like he's his father. And technically he's his biological father. So there's that too. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's about it, more or less. Somehow I still feel like I missed something. Whatever it is, please write it down in the comment section below. I want to thank everyone for watching. This came over 5 minutes longer than I wanted it to be. And I know I kind of rambled on about the whole Olivia and Julian thing, but she's just been a character that's just been kind of... Oh, also, and I knew I forgot something. Ned was not there talking to Olivia about ELQ and about how, like, the stocks are kind of in question. The shares are kind of in question because of Danny and Drew being back. And, Ned wants to sit there and talk to Drew about ELQ stuff and about Valentine. So, there's that. I know I forgot something, but I don't know why, and I know it was important in this episode, but I really want to talk about the whole Olivia thing, because she... yeah. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. See you in the next video.